know. But that's not what my stuff is about. I heard some of you mention this, and it made me very, very happy, because with my art, I try to bring out new perspectives and new perceptions on ordinary things, like color, like space, and if you've been watching video, like the national debt. But this one is mostly concentrated on perspective and perception of things. Starting with, the traditional illusion on a two-dimensional surface, illusion of three-dimension, like my finger painting over there. And it's the traditional way that artists make illusions of space, and that's what I teach at Assabet, as Tracy knows. She's one of my students there, who's great to show up, and it's a long way, because I have to drive a long way each time to Assabet, so. Well, that's one type of illusion, and then I make also architectural illusions when I design in perspective, which is also that type of illusion, but it's constructed from plans and sections and other architectural drawings. So it's another illusion from a two-dimensional surface into a third. I then try to create the illusion that is not through the painting like those two, but exists somewhere in an ambiguous space. And I don't know if you've seen this one. It's more about looking at it from the side. It's called an anamorphic projection. From the side, you see this floating image that's kind of ambiguous in space. So I can't quite tell if it's behind, in front, kind of slanting forward, etc. So that brought a new way for me to play with space. And then another professor who might show up later on, Carl Fasano, said study color. He's a painter, by the way, but he says study color not through the logic of the artist, but through science. You can learn a lot more that way, because even Leonardo said the red, green, and blue as primary colors doesn't really work, because you need a green to make brilliant greens, because yellow and dark blue makes these really muddy greens. So, that brought me to look at the spectrum and dissect light and look at vision. And we have red, green, and blue cones. And if they sense those lights that are bounced off of everything, when only red and green cones are sensed, it's yellow. Only when blue and green cones are sensed, it's cyan. It's like that triangle I have at places. And if only red and magenta are sensed, it's blue. I think I screwed up, but that's okay. But anyway, the words are cyan, magenta, and yellow. Those are the colors. So I started working with mixing of the colors and so forth. Like at the triangles, all you have to do is pick two colors and draw a line through it, and the line will cross all the colors you can possibly make with those two colors, and a straight line, that is. And so I went on all kinds of studies from making objects logically, and then going on top of it and painting it with kind of an abstract expressionist thing that I do, and then make it into a three-dimensional thing. So in that sense, I'm making two-dimensional drawings and making three-dimensional objects. It's a little influence from architecture too, where we're making two-dimensional drawings to build some three-dimensional thing. So it's again trying to change the dimension of things. And then later in the study of space and color, I brought color to the fourth dimension at the last show, hosted by Garage Sake, which Pam's also involved with, over in the general store during January. The poster over there shows my way of developing everything into not only the three dimensions, but four dimensions. And with space, I've always done perspective, so I try to draw something four-dimensional, started looking at some illusion into the fourth dimension, and as a crux, everything that I've built up from both the work and I think is my future work. So this is like a proto box. It's my illusion in a three-dimensional box, kind of a birth into a four-dimensional space. That's why you can only put your head through first. And you got to work hard to put your shoulders through if you can. But so this is kind of a culmination of all my work so far, and I'm very happy with it, and I love the little kids who come, little kids about 7 or 8, or even 10, comes and looks at the box, and then they love it, and that brings me so much joy, because it's just raw emotion that they give me. So I'm very happy to keep on that route. And that's where I am right now. Thank you so much for coming. There's so many of you. Huh? More raffle tickets. Please bring them up here. And also, I will take questions if any of you have questions.